This is Drip Sports News, and we've got all your NFL Week 6 highlights covered. And in other NFL action, the Baltimore Ravens defended their home turf at M&T Bank Stadium, defeating their division rivals, the Washington Commanders. The Ravens, with a strong offensive showing throughout the game, put up 30 points against a resilient Commanders team. The Commanders, despite a valiant effort, fell short with a final score of 23. This matchup showcased the intensity of divisional rivalry games. Make sure to stay tuned to Drips Media for continued coverage of all the NFL action, as we bring you highlights, analysis, and all the latest news from around the league. And in other NFL action, the Seattle Seahawks hosted their division rivals, the San Francisco 49ers, in a thrilling Week 6 matchup at Lumen Field. The Niners drew first blood with a field goal, but the Seahawks answered back with a field goal of their own. San Francisco built a 16-3 lead going into halftime. The Seahawks came roaring back in the third quarter, scoring 14 points to the 49ers' 7 to close the gap. Ultimately, the 49ers pulled away in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Seahawks 13-7. The final score was 36-24, with the San Francisco 49ers adding another win to their column. Let's recap some of the exciting action from Week 6 in the NFL. The Chicago Bears hosted the Jacksonville Jaguars at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, where the Bears clawed their way to a 35-16 victory. Over at Lambeau Field, the Green Bay Packers protected their house, defeating the Arizona Cardinals with a final score of 34-13. Meanwhile, the Houston Texans pulled off an impressive upset against the New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium, handing the Pats a 41-21 loss. Down in New Orleans, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sailed to victory against the Saints with a final score of 51-27. And finally, in a nail-biting match at Lincoln Financial Field, the Philadelphia Eagles narrowly edged out the Cleveland Browns, 20-16. Welcome back to Drips Media's Sports Desk. It was a Monday night showdown in the Meadowlands, with the Bills squeaking out a 23-20 victory over the Jets. The Bills leaned on a strong second quarter to build a lead, ultimately holding off a late Jets surge. In other NFL action, the team name battled the team name to a thrilling finish. And over in City, the team name took on their rivals, the team name. We've got highlights and post-game analysis of all the action, so stick around. That was an incredible finish in Green Bay, folks. Now let's recap some of the other action from a wild Week 6 in the NFL. Down in Nashville, it was a dogfight between two division rivals as the Tennessee Titans hosted the Indianapolis Colts. The Titans struck first, but a resilient Colts team kept pace throughout. Ultimately, it was the Colts who had the last laugh, edging out the Titans by a final score of 20-17. Indianapolis pulled away in the fourth quarter, securing a crucial victory within their division. And in the NFL, the AFC North is heating up. The Baltimore Ravens are sitting pretty at the top with a 4-2 record, riding a 4-game winning streak. They've outscored their opponents by a solid 28 points this season. The Pittsburgh Steelers are right behind them at 4-2 as well, boasting a stifling defense that's only allowed 86 points against them. The Cincinnati Bengals are trying to claw their way back at 2-4, but they've struggled at home with a 0-3 record. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns are looking for a spark, sitting at the bottom of the division with a 1-5 record. And in the NFL, the AFC South is shaping up to be a fascinating race. The Houston Texans are on fire, boasting a 5-1 record, leading their division. They've outscored opponents 143 to 135, showing they can both score and defend. Can they keep this momentum going? Meanwhile, the Indianapolis Colts are holding steady with a 3-3 record. They've had a balanced attack, scoring and allowing 139 points. The Tennessee Titans and Jacksonville Jaguars are looking to turn things around, sitting at 1-4 and 1-5 respectively. Will either team make a run for the top spot? It's still early in the season, and anything can happen in the AFC South. Turning our attention to the AFC East, where the Buffalo Bills are starting to build a gap at the top. They're sitting pretty at 4-2, a full 2 games ahead of the pack. The Miami Dolphins and New York Jets are tied for second at 2-3, while the New England Patriots are bringing up the rear at 1-5. The Bills' offense has been impressive, putting up 165 points, the best in the division. Meanwhile, the Patriots are struggling to find the end zone, with only 83 points on the board. It's still early in the season, but the Bills are looking like the team to beat in the AFC East. Turning our attention to the AFC West, where the Kansas City Chiefs remain undefeated. They're sitting pretty at 5-0, leading the division with a commanding point differential of +33. The Los Angeles Chargers are holding on to second place with a 3-2 record, hot off a win against the Raiders. Speaking of the Raiders, they're currently at the bottom of the division with a 2-4 record. Can they turn things around? The Denver Broncos are battling for position with a .500 record, sitting at 3-3. The AFC West is shaping up to be a real battleground this season. And in the NFC North, the Vikings remain undefeated. They're sitting pretty atop the division with a perfect 5-0 record. The Lions are close behind at 4-1, riding a 3-game winning streak. Don't count out the Packers just yet, though. They've bounced back from a shaky start and are now 4-2 for the season. Meanwhile, the Bears are also 4-2, proving that their home turf is a fortress with an impressive 4-0 record at home. It's still early in the season, but the NFC North is shaping up to be a real nail-biter. All right, turning our attention to the NFC South, where the battle for the top spot is heating up, the Atlanta Falcons are currently soaring high, sitting pretty at the top with a 4-2 record. They've won their last 3, showing resilience and grit. Right behind them, nipping at their heels, are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, also at 4-2. The Bucs are coming off a win and will be looking to build some momentum. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Saints are trying to shake off a 4-game skid. They're 2-4 and in desperate need of a win to turn their season around. Bringing up the rear are the Carolina Panthers, struggling at 1-5. They've got a tough road ahead, but it's still early in the season and anything can happen. All right, folks, let's take a look at the NFC East, where the battle for the top spot is heating up. The Washington Commanders are currently leading the pack with a solid 4-2 record. They've shown they can put up points with a +33-point differential, but a recent loss has them looking to bounce back. Trailing close behind are the Philadelphia Eagles, sitting at 3-2. They've had some ups and downs, as evidenced by their -6-point differential, but a recent win has them back on track. The Dallas Cowboys, also at 3-3, are an enigma. They're undefeated on the road but winless at home. Can they find some consistency? Finally, the New York Giants are looking to climb out of a 2-4 hole. They've struggled at home with an 0-3 record, so they'll need to figure things out on their own turf. The NFC East is always a tight race, and this season is no different. And that wraps up the action from the diamond. Now let's head over to the gridiron for an NFL update. In the NFC West, it's a tight race at the top. The San Francisco 49ers are currently in first place with a 3-3 record, fresh off a win. Right behind them are the Seattle Seahawks, also at 3-3, but they've hit a bit of a skid with a 3-game losing streak. The Arizona Cardinals are holding on with a 2-4 record, while the Los Angeles Rams are bringing up the rear at 1-4. It's still early in the season, so we'll see how these teams fare in the coming weeks. That's all from Drip Sports News. Be sure to catch us online.